There he is. Oh man, that didn't take long. New Yamamoto Shad Shape Swimmer. Awesome new little swim bait, man. Look at that dude right there. Got it too. Oh, there he is. Like I say, that didn't take long. It's brand new from Yamamoto. You know, we've had the Shad Shape Worm out for a long time. Now we got this new really cool Shad Shape Swimmer. Check this out. Little swim bait, Shad Shape Worm with a little boot tail on there. It's gonna be a killer little bait. I'm gonna go ahead and release this fish. Let's sit down. I wanna go over the Shad Shape Swimmer. It's brand new from Yamamoto. You guys are definitely gonna wanna check this one out. All right, so we just released that fish. Like I said, this is brand new to the Yamamoto lineup, and this is the Shad Shape Swimmer. And for years, many, many years, I've been throwing the Shad Shape Worm. So awesome action out of the Shad Shape Worm, but we've been begging for a little boot tail swim bait, and we thought, what better bait to put a boot tail on than a bait that we already have that is a perfect size and shape. And we came up with the Shad Shape Swimmer. You know, a couple different things that are gonna really set this bait apart. For one, you're gonna see on the tail here, it's gonna have a little bit longer tail, really, really, really thin though. So the slightest movement of this bait in the water and this tail is gonna kick. So whether, I mean, you just cast it out, it hits the water, as soon as it starts falling, the tail is gonna have action, it's gonna always kick. And it's very realistic too. It's not a real hard paddle side to side. It's very natural, so it looks like a bait fish. We're gonna have a variety of sizes, 3.5 inch, I know a 4 inch, and that's gonna be a big deal, so you can match the hatch with some really, really cool colors. Also, durability on this bait. You know, this is not gonna have the same amount of salt as the Shad Shape Worm or like the Yamamoto Senko. So it's gonna be less salt, so it's gonna make it a lot more durable. So it's not gonna be one of those, you catch one fish and the bait is ruined. You're gonna be able to catch multiple fish on one bait, which is really nice, you know, as an angler. Rigging it on there, it's like I say, it's gonna hold really good. You're gonna catch a lot of fish. One thing that's different as well with the Shad Shape Swimmer, so you're gonna get a lot of head roll, you know, a lot of body and head roll. That's huge. A lot of little boot tail swim baits on the market, the head will run straight, and you don't have that action out of the head, you just have it out of the tail. So this one, the Shad Shape Swimmer, you're gonna have the tail kick and it's gonna have a head roll, which makes it just, you know, really natural, lifelike, and you're gonna catch a lot of fish on that as well. You know, today I'm rigging this on a little, it's a new tungsten jig head. It's a Cypher tungsten jig head. Awesome nano-coated hook in there as well. You can see the, you know, the head's gonna be labeled. We're throwing an 1/8 ounce head, and especially when you're forward-facing sonar fishing, you want that tungsten. A little bit smaller, but it's gonna really show up on the sonar on the graph, so you can track this bait a long ways and see these fish coming. But just a great bait. You know, today we're fishing over boulders, but this is one of those baits you're gonna wanna fish it off of points. Definitely schooling fish over the top of structure. Whenever they're eating shad, this is gonna be a must-have. So really like this bait. I love the size, really matches the hatch well, and you know, it's gonna definitely catch a lot of fish for me and for you guys. But let's get back on the water and catch a few more fish. There he is. Oh, there's a nice one. Look at that one right there. Shad Shape Swimmer. Oh man. First cast, man. Just get up, showed the bait. What's so special about this? Stand up, make a cast, and look at this beautiful smallmouth right here. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Ate it too. You know, when you're throwing on a casting rod too, you have just so much more control and a lot easier to get them. Let's get this fish in. There we go. Definitely a nice one. Heck yeah. All right, so what I'm doing here, like I say, I'm rigging it on this ball head. I really like this Cypher tungsten ball head. It holds the bait really well, but with some weight down the shank too, it's gonna run really flat. You know, it's not gonna run nose down. That's a really big deal, but I'm picking areas I wanna cast at, you know, some boulders, some sand spots, maybe some grass, and I'm throwing out there and I'm letting the bait get down, hitting the bottom. As soon as it hits the bottom, I'm gonna pick it up. Oh man, I just had one bite right there. I'm gonna pick it up and I'm slowly gonna reel it over the top of whatever structure I'm fishing. So I'm not grinding this bait on the bottom, but I'm just gonna fish it up over the top and keep it really natural. So it looks just like a bait fish. That one just got a hold of that, but that's the key, you know, just to try to keep it in the strike zone as long as possible and fish that bait over the top of structure. You know, so when I'm fishing this Shad Shape Swimmer here, I'm gonna cast it out there and let the bait sink all the way down to the bottom or whatever structure I'm fishing. And as soon as it hits the bottom, I'm slowly gonna wind it over the top of the structure and keep that bait in the strike zone. You know, today we're fishing some boulders, you know, around some grass, and also some open water scoping type stuff. But I want to cast it out there, let the bait hit the bottom, slowly retrieve it over the top of some rocks. Those fish today seem like they're sitting right behind the rocks, and so I want to keep it pretty close to where those fish are, and that's been the deal. And really, over the years, you know, fishing, you know, baits like this, that's how you really want to fish them. But I love the Shad Shape Swimmer with the durability of it. You know, just the way the tail kicks. I mean, I can barely turn the handle. I can get a bite because of the action of the tail. When it's falling, it looks great. And you know, the head roll is really a big deal to me. You know, just it looks a lot more natural than any little boot tail swim bait I've thrown on the market right now. You know, as far as the setup today, we're throwing this on a casting rod setup. I prefer to throw it on a casting rod setup just so you have more power, more control of the fish, especially when you're fishing some grass, some current, rock like we are today. So you can hook them, you can just control them a lot better, and it's a lot easier to land them. You know, the casting rod I like is a Daiwa Tattooly Elite 7-foot power finesse rod by Brent Ayler. But generally, I just like that 7-foot, that medium action rod. So just a 7-foot medium action rod. I love the Daiwa Tattooly Elite designed by Brent Ayler. That's what we're throwing here today. Again, it's a 7-foot rod and medium action, really, really cool. You know, as far as the reel goes, I like a low profile reel. A 6:3 gear ratio is what I prefer. You know, I feel like when you go any heavier than that, you're gonna really reel this bait up off the bottom too quick. I wanna keep that bait in the strike zone. So 6:3 gear ratio. I am throwing today a Daiwa Tattooly Elite, again, 6'3", perfect reel for me. Make a really long cast with it and get that bait where I need to put it. And that's a big deal for me. Line, you know, I like a 10 to a 14 pound fluorocarbon. This today we're throwing is a 12-pound test. It's a Daiwa J Fluoro Samurai. So we're just going straight fluorocarbon, no braid, all fluorocarbon, and just a deadly little setup. Again, you know, Yamamoto Shad Shape Swimmer, Cypher tungsten head. We're trying to keep this bait, you know, up over the top of some of these boulders today. And this is the perfect setup to hook and land some of these big ones. All right, so what I'm looking at right here, it's about 35 feet out in front of me, and you can see it's a defined rock little ledge right there. Now it's about 15, we're coming right up on it. So what I wanna do is see, we're sitting here in 7 foot, but right up there, 25 feet out, is 20 foot is the hard break right there. So I want to throw down the break where those fish are sitting off the edge, and I'm going to bring the Shad Shape Swimmer right up the edge, just like that. Just like that, and catch one. Not a big one, but a good thing about when you're scoping here is you're just kind of looking for that structure, you're pinpointing some of that structure. Now we're going pretty quick, but if you see on the graph right here, you can see that hard break right there, right? It's 20 feet out there, and that's where those fish are sitting, trying to get out of the current. They're sitting there. I'm gonna throw my bait right up there. I'm gonna watch it kind of go down. So I'm gonna get right up on the edge here. You can see this, you can see a couple fish in there right there, about 20 feet out. And you wanna watch your bait go down just like that. Here comes a couple fish coming right out to it. And you're gonna slowly swim. There's a couple fish just came right out. They're almost under the boat, but slowly swim the Shad Shape Swimmer over the top of the fish. You know, you can let it go to the bottom is fine, but then you want to swim it over the top of the structure. So, you know, when we were blind fishing earlier, just kind of throwing it out there, it was, you know, it was more about let it hit the bottom, swim it up off the bottom, and swim it over the top of structure. We're doing the same thing now, but we're visually seeing the structure. So you always want to keep it above their head. You never want to let it go and drag underneath. It just seems like the fish will come up so much better when the bait is over the top of their head compared to going down to the bottom. Little guy. Little guy, but you know, that's okay. I mean, we're doing the right thing. We're just not catching the big ones right now, but we're putting ourselves really in position to maximize your cast, and that's what you want to do. You know, you want to, when you're scoping this bait, you want to put it in the zone. Like I say, you could see there's that hard edge right there, 20 foot out, couple fish swimming down, and you know, whether you're seeing the fish or not, a lot of scoping too is casting on the structure just like this. So, you know, when you scan out there and you see something like this, a defined hard break, at least you know where to put your bait. There's one, another one. You can see it kind of on the graph. Just like that. And you're throwing your bait in the right zone. So, you know, even if you're not seeing them, but you're seeing structure and they're hugged to the bottom, that's a big deal. Putting the bait in the right place, catching some, and this Shad Shape Swimmer is the awesome bait to scope, and it's really perfect for that technique. But whether you're scoping or hoping, there you go, there's another fish, man. You can scope it, or you can just blind cast it and hope it. The new Shad Shape Swimmer by Yamamoto Baits. Make sure you guys check them out, pick them up, get some, man.